Hello there. I am going to show you how to create your title block. It is a block with attributes, and I will be following along in the book, but I will also be using my notes that I have given you for the course that have all of the little changes to make it from Dr. Yasmin's title block for Clemson University for her Engineering 2100 course to the title block for my course at Wake Tech Community College in CEG 151, or whatever class you need to use it for. So I'll be referring to both of these and looking in AutoCAD. So you can see mine, it happens to be on the Learn tab where there are lots of great getting started videos. I'm going to go to the Create tab because the book says before creating the attributes, do the initial setup. So I need a new ISO file. And then it says to create a layer. Remember, we know that blocks should not have layers. Otherwise, they force themselves onto layers in whatever drawing you're putting them in. And this title block will be part of a greater set of items on its own layer. And so we want to be able to combine them. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just start. It says to use the line command to draw the lines shown in figure 6-5A. There are lots of ways to do things in AutoCAD. I actually am going to do something slightly different. I don't want to draw all of these different lines. I'm actually going to do a rectangle. And so you can take a look. I'm in dynamic input, and I'm going to say first corner is right there. Then down here, I'm going to click dimensions, or I can type D, enter, and it says, what is the length? Now, what it means by length is actually the X axis, and so that was 220. And then the width, they actually mean the y-axis or the height, and that was 65 millimeters. And now I can choose where I want that to go. I'm going to choose that and zoom in a little bit. So then I want to actually use the offset. She says, Dr. Yasmin says, go ahead and use the offset command to make the construction lines in this figure. We're actually going to use the offset to make all of these, and then we're going to use trim. It just goes much faster. But in order to offset something, just one part of this, I need to explode it. So I'm going to use the explode command by typing X. Then I'm going to do noun verb. So I'm selecting the item and then invoking the offset command. I'm going to take a look at my distance here is 17. I'm going to say 17, and I want it to go down. And then I need to exit because the next time I want to do that command has a different distance, and that distance is 12. So I'm going to hit the space bar to re-invoke it. It says specify the offset distance. 17 is the default now because that's what it was last time I used it. I'm going to go ahead and type 12. And I'm going to select the object, and there we go. Now it also had lines over this way. I want to take a look at my notes, and we are in Chapter 6, Block with Attributes. And so you can see some important information, but I want you to modify it as shown. You can also adjust things in the block editor if you would like. So this is what I want it to look like. Notice the difference. There, she's got this going across 2 rows, and I've only got it going across 1. So then you definitely need to make sure that you don't have this extra field in there. We won't need it because she teaches her way, I teach my way. But I need to offset this. It was 75 and then 70. So I'm going to go ahead and offset 75. And notice I'm offsetting the whole thing. And then 70. And then I'm going to use trim. So just to double check my notes. So it's all 4 and then just the second one up. So I need to trim this. If I don't select anything, everything is a cutting edge, I can just start deleting. And I'm done. I've done quite a bit. I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm just going to save it as just drawing one because I'm going to be naming it when I turn it into a right block. So now we'll do all of those construction lines. So these pink lines are just temporary, and we are going to make them. So we're going to again use offset, 3 millimeters. And I can just go ahead and do all of these. Because we want everything to be in the bottom left corner of its field, of its space in this title block. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete these when I'm done using them to line everything up precisely, but that we don't have to make a special layer or do anything like that. There's a special tool for that, but you know, just use a line. That's fine. Just offset. All right, so a text box. Now here's the thing, text boxes start on the top left. So we need to make this a lot bigger than 2.5. See how big that is? We need to make it probably 10. No, not big enough. So let's try. Now I want you to use the full name of the college. And we saw that that was way too big, so let's drop it down to 10. It fills the height, but it's too wide. So let's try 7.5. That's actually pretty good. I want to try 8.5. Remember, I'm just making it look cool. So let's try 8. And I'm going to be able to do some stuff to this width to make it fit. I am going to go back to the 8.5 though. And get rid of the word wrap by making it wider. Okay, now here's the thing. Remember, we wanted it to line up here, not here. So I'm going to select this. I can't use the grip. I can't do that. So I'm going to get rid of my object snap, line up the bottom with that line, and then turn my object snap back on so that I can do that. Don't forget to save. Now the thing is, this is too wide, but it is going to permanently be part of the drawing. It is static text. Okay, see, that's going over a little bit. So I want to change the character spacing. In order to do that, I need to go to the text panel, annotate tab, text panel, dialog box. I need to create a new one, and this is going to be, I'm going to call it Wake Tech Community College. Remember, I'm typing in all caps. So the standard text height is going to be that 8.5, and the width factor is going to be, let's try 0.85, and I'm going to apply that so that it becomes real. And now I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to select everything inside my text box, And I'm going to choose that new style that I just made and close the text editor. Now you can see that reducing it from a width factor of 1 to 0.85 was a little too much. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to modify it to 0.9, apply, and close. And you can see it changes. Now it's too close. So I'm going to go back, and this is what creativity is all about. So 0.85 was too little. I'm going to try 0.87, which is in the middle. And that looks good. Gives me a little bit of what is called padding around the outside of that. There's still a little bit too much room on the top. I'm being really finicky because this is static text. So I'm going to select all of this. I'm going to make it 9 tall. Now remember, that means I've got to go ahead and move it again. That looks much better, and I've got to go ahead and change that probably back to 0.85. Ooh, even more. I'm going to do 0.82. There we go. All right, now we've got in the notes another text box for your name. Of course, I'm going to put my name. But this is going to be, it's not 17 tall, it's 12. So 12 divided by 17, it's only 70% times we did a height of 9, so I need to be 6.3. So then I'm going to do another text box, and I'm going to start it here and go there and change this to 6.3 and start typing my name. And there we go, and then I grab it, turn off my object snaps, eyeball it so that the words are there. Looks good. Save. And then it says attributes. Well, it's @def or ATT. And then I'm going to make all of these with, you're going to see this, and you're going to have to put in a tag, a prompt, and default text. And so she gives some examples, company name, section number. We're not going to do name because that's not going to change for you. We're not going to use table number, but we're going to use everything else. Going to make it shorter because it's a little too tall. It was going over that. This line, it needs to have a buffer above it to this line just as much as there is below. And so you can see that even 8 is just too much, too tall. I cannot get it to edit. There we go. And when you're in the text box, you can do Control A. We had it at 6.3. I'm going to go ahead and make this 6.3. Should have listened to my gut. Remember, a text box you have to line up by eye. Okay, so now these are all way too big. It looks like they're okay because of these two borders, but then that means this one's shared, and that's really not going to happen. So we're going to have to remake all of these. You can edit them, but believe me, it is quick just for me to remake them. Definitely going to save because I don't want that old stuff. And I want 6.3. I don't care what the tag is called. You can make up your own. See, it remembers what you did. One more. Much better. That's beautiful. Okay, so now I'm going to turn this into a block that can be used in other things. Remember, I am all on layer 0 because I don't want it to force another layer into a future drawing. So I'm going to right block, my base point. I'm going to pick the bottom right. Remember, I picked the bottom right because in our class, it goes snapped to the bottom right of the neat line, and the neat line will be shown in another video. So select the objects, and then now it's waiting. I found 21. I've got to hit enter to actually select them. I want to convert it into a block, and I'm going to call it that. The insert units will be unitless, and then OK. I'm replacing one, and so immediately it wants me to say what all of this is. If I don't make any of these changes, then you will see it as it is. So with all of the sort of default information, and you can see this part is very long, and so I would double click to edit any of this. If this Troy River Valley was actually basin, I'm going to make a longer one. I'm making that up, and it's long. You can actually go back in there, go to text options, and there's that width factor again. And you want to say, I'm going to change that to, let's try 0.9. Oh, nope, didn't work. So I'm just applying it when I hit enter. Let's try 0.87. I need that little padding there on the end. So let's try 0.85. That looks good. I click OK to close that dialog box. And yeah, it's a more close together kind of thing, but that's all right. So that is what you do to create a title block. The book tells you to create a release block and some other a tolerances block. We don't use those in this class, so you don't have to make them. If your company uses those, they will provide them to you, and it's just making a block of static text. This is actually the juicy stuff that you really need to know when you get into industry. All right, thanks very much.